Hello, and welcome to The Art of Being Selfish. I am Dr. Sims, a licensed psychologist, and on this channel, I discuss ways that you can take care of yourself or be selfish so that you feel nourished and filled enough to take care of others. Now, while we will be discussing topics related to mental health on this channel, this is not a substitute for therapy. So, in today's session, I want to talk about the strong Black woman, but not in the way that we're used to talking about her. We have common conversations about the strong Black woman, so we know who she is. She's in our family. She may be in our friend group, and so we've been saying a lot like check on your strong friend lately, so she's in our friend group, or she may be looking back at you in the mirror when you get up in the morning. And so I don't want to talk about that today. What I want to talk about is renegotiating our relationship with vulnerability. A lot of us are very afraid of vulnerability, and even the word can make us uncomfortable. But as the same way that I felt with selfishness, I wonder if we can really unpack the definition of vulnerability a little bit and really change our relationship with that narrative. Because the definition of vulnerability is literally saying you are exposed, or a state of being open to the possibility of being attacked or being harmed emotionally or physically. And what I find to be interesting about that definition is that sure, you're being open to the possibility of being attacked and being harmed, but you're also being open to the possibility of a bunch of other things. You're being open to the possibility of love and caringness and compassion and help. Like, there are so many other things that you could be open to, but I do think that the way that we operate around vulnerability is that we operate from that one place of I'm going to be attacked or I'm going to be harmed. And we forget about the part that that's one of the possibilities, and that there are numerous other ones that we just focus in on. If I do this, I'm going to be hurt, I'm going to be harmed. And it really creates a barrier for us to make connections with people, for us to focus on our mental health, for us to get help when we need it. And so when I think about vulnerability, I actually really think of it as a strength. I think that it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable, because when you think about vulnerability, we're operating from a place of fear, and we're operating from a place of protecting ourselves at all costs. And typically when you're afraid of something, you try to avoid it. You try to stay as far away from it as possible because you don't want to be attacked and you don't want to be harmed. And I see this a lot in relationships. I see this a lot in people who are afraid to take risks in relationships and in their professional and personal lives because we're so afraid of being harmed. But I wonder what it would be like for us to look at vulnerability from the other side of it, that there are so many other opportunities that can exist in the face of the risks that you might get harmed or you might get attacked. And when I think about people who actually embrace vulnerability and actually are open and welcoming of being in that vulnerable space, I look at it as a very courageous thing to do. Vulnerability is scary. Lots of things in life are scary. However, we do them on a day-to-day basis. And the more that we can start applying that to being vulnerable, the easier it's going to be for us to make connections with people and feel more comfortable with our true selves. The more that we're able to say things like, I need this from you, it really hurt me when you, I really didn't like that you, I need to cry, like allowing yourself to express emotions other than happiness and joy and pleasure. Life is not always that. And the more that we can show the other side of that, the more that we can show our true authentic selves, the better we're going to be at operating in these relationships. And we don't have to say that vulnerability is a weakness. We don't have to say that crying makes you weak or being sad makes you weak. We really can change the narrative around vulnerability. And when we start talking about the strong Black woman, why not allow her the space to be vulnerable as well? Why can't the strong Black woman be strong because she knows how to reach out to her support system when she needs something? Why can't the strong Black woman also cry and still be able to do the things that she needs to do? The mutually exclusive aspects of being vulnerable and being strong is one of the most damaging pieces of the strong Black woman. And so the more that we can incorporate vulnerability into our definition around the strong Black woman, the more that we can incorporate vulnerability into our everyday lives, I think we are going to see changes in our relationships, changes in our ability to take risks and overcome our fears, and changes in the way that we show love and the way that we support one another, the way that we tend to our mental health. Because honestly, being selfish and tending to your mental health is a place of vulnerability, because it's a place of saying, at this moment right now, I'm choosing me over you, and that could possibly be really damaging to you, and I'm sorry for that, but in this space right now, I need me and I choose me. This is all about being vulnerable, and it's okay to be vulnerable, because when you're being vulnerable, you're actually opening yourself up to love, and you're allowing the world to see who you really are. So that is all that I wanted to share this week. Make sure you go out and do something this week to be selfish, and I look forward to seeing you all next Selfish Saturday. Bye.